Okay, so we're going to run through a little quick test video. I actually just did one of these, but I had the mic off, so I have to redo it. This is going to be a lot of learning back and forth, and it's going to be very rudimentary production in the beginning, but I really don't want to wait until I have it perfect aesthetically and operationally. I'm all by myself, and I want to start getting content out. Having my Twitter suspended, my last account, the at tbiggs with 3 G's and an S account, after 8 years of being up there, over 50 some thousand tweets, suspended and taken down with no explanation, just told it was a violation of Twitter rules multiple times. Never cited any incidents. The email, in fact, even said, "Don't try to contact us back because we're not going to listen." So here is my new Twitter address. It's at Tom Biggs with 3 G's and an S. Big change. I was able to grab that handle, and it's basically set up the same, including my pinned tweet, which has been there for about 2 years now and had 100 or so retweets or whatever, quite a few views, a good couple hundred views. Which, if you watch this, presentation by Mark, it's one of the most uplifting presentations that one could ever really come to know, to understand what true spirituality is. People think it's religion and external worship, and it's the occult is spirituality. The ultimate goal of spirituality is freedom. The occult, which are the hidden laws that exist all around us, the hidden knowledge, the hidden information, which is suppressed by those that run the world. Well, they control the way that knowledge is used in the world by our ignorance of it. And instead of pushing play and watching a video, people think that making comments about things they don't understand is being awake and shouting people down as "you're going to lose followers" or whatever. And then pretending to be awake. We need to come together around principled, objective morality. This is what needs to occur in the world. People need to lose their baby nonsense and their individual beliefs, thinking they don't have any when they're full of them rigidly, and realize that there's a whole hell of a lot of shit that we don't know. This presentation by Marx is one of my favorite. I'm going to play it for a second, actually.
And what is the true self? We have to understand a little bit about the physiology of the brain. And I won't make this too complicated, I'll move through it rather quickly. We basically have three complexes in the human brain. We have the R complex of the brain, which is down here, highlighted in red. This is the reptile brain, the reptilian brain. It's the brain stem and the cerebellum. This regulates motor function, respiration, survival mechanisms, instinctual responses, the things that we have to do to interact with the physical world around us. Then we have the midbrain. It's known as the limbic system or the mammalian brain, the mammal brain. And it facilitates and makes possible emotional responses in the body. So this generates the chemicals, the neuropeptides that help us, that go into our bloodstream and nervous system that help us feel, when we take an action.
Okay, you can obviously go and push play. He'll go on. That is the mammalian brain. That is what is responsible for the emotions, the emotional feel from within. And then he'll go on to explain the third aspect of the brain, the neocortex, which is the divided brain, the hemispheres of the brain, the left and right. He'll go on to explain how they're different in how they function and how they can be led to become imbalanced, at which point left brain imbalance or right brain imbalance can then be played off against one another. If we have this knowledge, it cannot occur. These are the occult studies. This is spirituality. Again, spirituality, the ultimate goal of spirituality is freedom, is an evolutionary state for a species. We need to wake up out of this. So you can go there and watch that. The reason why I don't want to spend too much time on it is I'd like to play a 2 or 3 minute clip. If people could understand what is being said here and understand the resonance of the body, energy, frequency, and vibration. Everything is energy in a vibratory state that is and can be and is affected by frequency. Whatever frequency can be targeted at the body can actually have an impact on the body. And we are responsible for our state of frequency as well, based on the resonance within, on how much we know ourselves and how much we project our infinite being into the world, as opposed to little me, I am the body, and I need to be that guy's boss so that I can have some kind of worth in the world and feel good about myself. Understanding this state, you can then begin to understand the elite goals of targeting the aggregate consciousness of society and how they manipulate it to keep themselves in power. See, that can't be done when we understand information like this. So I want to play this 2 or 3 minutes. As you can see, I'm demonstrating some of the things that I'm going to be doing in this, like I said, very rudimentarily produced show, as I get to understand and know the software. But I need to start getting content out here more and more. So I'm going to play the clip, and then we'll come back and close out when I show you the YouTube channel that I'll be posting to, while also trying to work on a website. So take this information in, will you?
Some decades ago, there was a guy who worked out the frequencies of different emotional states. This is long ago. I mean, it's very, very sophisticated now. So every thought, every emotional response is a frequency. It generates a frequency, and it is of itself a frequency. Hate is a frequency, and it's different to love. You know, when you are in a room and there's lots of aggression and conflict and hatred, you feel it. What do people say? Oh God, you can cut the atmosphere with a knife in there. That is because the frequencies of hate and conflict have been so generated, they have changed the electromagnetic field of the room.
When you go driving your car and your channel on the radio is tuned to a station and you're grooving to the music, you love that music. As you get farther and farther away from the broadcasting tower, that music gets static. You start to lose the signal from the clear channel, broadcast, and it gets staticky. When it gets staticky, you get a little annoyed. But you want to listen to it. You really have a heart for that music, so you continue to listen to it for another 10, 15 miles, and suddenly it becomes so annoying that you just get disgusted, you go, ah, and you shut it off. And if you continue to listen to it, you get sick. That's what we're talking about here. Except you don't even know that you've been listening to the static your whole life. You don't even know what the true resonant frequency is because it has been kept from you.
Now, of course, to really be effective, we need to use the proper words and phrases, scientifically selected. But that gives you the basic idea. We embed messages just below the threshold of perception, so they can go directly into the subconscious.
They can play across a community these frequencies without anyone knowing, and it starts to have an effect, and it starts to build rage, it starts to build anger, and people might not realize why they're feeling it, but they start to feel it. And then what they do is they trigger that with an event. Maybe some guy is attacked by the police or something, or somebody's arrested for something they didn't commit, and now there's the trigger. The blue touch paper's been lit of this manufactured frequency-driven rage, and you have mass riots and what have you, and people do things that they wouldn't normally do.
So in other words, the master composer, master conductor of the Universal Orchestra is singing love songs in 5/8, uplifting everything simultaneously. And we're the only species out of tune and accepting static for the clear channel.
Do you know that the American military, they've admitted this. They have technology that fires frequencies at the enemy that basically breaks the enemy's spirit, so they give up and put their weapons down.
Then they've actually used that weaponry, that technology, in the first Iraq War, Operation Desert Storm, Desert Shield. It was called The God something, not God's Eye from the movie, The God something. Voice of God, actually, that's what it was. And it had people turning themselves over to cameramen and press people, if you remember the footage, if you have the frame of reference. I remember that. Understanding the power of which, and I know it's getting dark in here now because I've done this a few times, just putting together something rudimentary, and I'm not redoing it. So I think I will post this just to get a little sample, as long as it works out okay, and show that this is kind of what I'm going to be able to look to do. Show web pages, talk about YouTube channels, maybe elaborate on a few things, make my own slides, maybe discuss various topics like parenting, social engineering, the education system, my experience with working with special needs children, my experience with working, within the Stormtrooper Police Department, try to grow a community of people that is interested in understanding. This is about principled, moral, a principled, objective understanding of what morality is, not causing undue, unjust physical harm to another sentient being, that there are consequences for these laws in the individual aspect and in the whole and in the aggregate. And it is that in which, in the aggregate, that is used to keep the control system where it is, and that taking our power back is up to us. So the YouTube channel here, as you can see, not much up there. We're going to post this now, and on my way out, please advise everyone to watch Mike Morales' show every night and understand how this weather is being manipulated. The California fires are doing the same thing again. This is one of the things that I believe had me pulled down off Twitter on my other account. So love you guys. Get learning, get speaking. We'll be back with a lot more content to come.